G'day, hi, and welcome. Okay, so red flags, green flags. Okay, there was a guy I was watching last night, Christian channel, and I'm not a hardcore Christian by any stretch of imagination, but he did quote Corinthians a lot, and his video was based on green flags, and I'm like, that's something you never see the red pill community talk about, right? Because again, they're misogynistic. And they're antinatalist, right? So they, most of them are, like, because they're like, oh no, I support the nuclear family, blah blah, but it's just not for me. Okay, fine, I get that, but then they go on, okay, don't get into a relationship, don't have a family, don't work for the man, you know what I mean? But then work on your wealth. Like they got a lot of mixed messaging, and it's not just one or two guys. It's not just one or two guys. Like there's a theme, because a lot of it is just regurgitated. Right? A lot of it's just, okay, I heard this fancy thing, so I'm just going to repeat the fancy thing that I heard. That's how things become cliques, cults, and et cetera, et cetera. But green flags, there was one green flag, and I'm like, this has got to be the biggest green flag in human history. But we'll talk about a red flag first. So you always hear the MGTOW and the manosphere, red pill guys, the guys that don't want to call themselves MGTOW, because basically they're shared ideologies, but they just want to sleep with as many women as possible, but never connect with them, right? And it doesn't work, guys. It doesn't work. Yeah, when you're young, you're chasing after every woman. I get that. I was young. I remember what I was like. Okay, but at some point, your inclination is to stick with one, right? Where these guys are just saying, no, just, they go on about like how, women's body count, and then they go on to tell you, and they tell you how horrible and that is statistically for these women, and how, bad it is for society and lack of morality, blah, blah, blah. And they're right. And then they go on to tell you, well, you should do it yourself. Go sleep with as many women because women have low value, blah, blah, blah. And there's all this value system and rating system. Throw that out the window. The high status male bullshit, like it's not how life works. It's all based on superficial stuff 99% of the time. But with the caveat, go to the gym and lift, bro. That's the only, it seems like the only way to self-improve yourself is apparently to go to the gym, which I have nothing wrong with going to the gym. Yeah, go to the gym, whatever. But it's just kind of like, it's a cope, you know what I mean? Like it's like you're not dealing with what you need to deal with mentally. If you're not mentally sound, there's nothing you can do physically that's going to make you, at peace with yourself. You have to be mentally sound. That's what that's why you got to look for the green flags. So they talk about the red flag that you can vet most women by is, how's their relationship with their father, right? They're the rebellious girl that, hates their dad because they grew up in a Christian household that was a little too strict. And that is very common. Extremely overzealous Christian households have rebellious children. That's why the boomers rebelled against it. That's why, it's whatever. So if you're a Christian family, you have to understand that you can't be in punishment mode and guilt trip mode all the time. A lot of Christian families have these problems because, they get the rebellion because of that, like the pushback. But even the non-Christian families, again, you have these girls that grow up and they just take a hatred for their dads for whatever reason. They got to date the bad guy, do all these things just to get back at their dad for whatever it is. Well, you didn't buy me a car on my 16th birthday. Maybe your dad was an asshole. You never know. There's reasons, right? But that relationship, when it's a woman doesn't have a good relationship with her dad, it's almost a guarantee she's not going to have a good relationship with you. And it's not a full stop, but it is something. It's a very big red flag, probably the biggest. Now, what would be the biggest green flag? Well, the exact opposite. If she's a woman that has a really, really good relationship with her father, I'm not saying they've never argued or she never put up a hissy fit or whatever, like a teenage girl would do, whatever. But like, I mean, in general, like they're like when she talks about her parents and she talks about her dad, like dad, oh, my dad used to take me here, and it was always like, you know, father daughter time everywhere, and it's like, oh, I love my dad. You got to meet my dad. Come meet my dad. You know, he's the best guy in the world. You know, well, that relationship, you know, not to steal from the other guy's video, but man, did he ever nail that one? Okay, the guy's delivery is kind of like hit and miss. You might like his character, you might not. But if you just go for the nuts and bolts of what he was talking about, I was like, holy shit, dude, what a great observation. Yes, the biggest green flag you can get for a woman that you want to pursue is the relationship with her father. When they typically have good relationships with their father, what don't you see? Well, you don't see the girl that's out at the club 5 nights a week. You don't see the girl with the neck tattoos. You know what I mean? You don't see the girl that's just me, self-absorbed. You see, this is the type of girl that you walk into a room and she's holding somebody else's baby because, oh, it's so cute. You know what I mean? Those are green flags. This is the type of girl that when there's a bunch of kids in the room, she's like chasing them around and having all kinds of fun. This is the type of girl that ends up going and helping in the kitchen with the grandma and you know, and this is the type of girl that just loves big family shindigs. Oh, you know what I mean? Green flag, green flag, green flag, green flag. I'm not saying that she won't have any faults, but what I'm saying in general, that those are the biggest green flags, and it all stems out from the green flag of the relationship the woman has with her father. So the better the relationship the woman has with her father, typically the better quality woman is. Now, the problem with these women is very simple. Is especially if they're even mildly attractive, they get scooped up pretty fast. And hopefully they don't get scooped up by one of these red-pilled guys who just want to love them and leave them, because that's what taints women. You know, it feeds into itself. You know, like, you know, the MGTOW guys are always talking about accountability, you know, and stuff like that. Well, you know, you own your body count, you own this. Well, yeah, so do you. You know, a slut is a slut. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. You know what I mean? I get it, like, you know, like, I'm not one of those, like, Puritans that, okay, she has to be a complete virgin or whatever. You know, within reason, if she's had a few relationships, is not a big, that's not really a red flag. It's what kind of relationships were they, you know, how few and far between were they, and, you know, what were the circumstances. You know, you have to look at that stuff, too, because sometimes good people end up, you know, like, sometimes it is the other person, you know what I mean? Oh, well, he cheated and I just wasn't going to put up with that. You know what I mean? Okay, you know, that's something that, you know, that tells you the character of the woman right there. Yeah, if she's not going to put up with that, that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. Guys shouldn't put up with it either. You know what I mean? So yeah, the biggest green flag I can give you is that one. It's like, yeah, if her relationship with her father is good, chances are she's going to be a woman that's going to hold you to account and have expectations for you. And then a lot of these MGTOW guys are kind of like the feminists in the sense, and especially the incel guys, where they don't want to have any sort of responsibility or expectation. And the thing for men, and I can't stress this enough, is you need to be responsible for something in your life. Something that you have to be accountable for. Because if not, your life is going to be shit. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be a relationship. It could be just... it's something that when you get up in the morning, you got to put it before you. And when you do that, it doesn't really matter what it is. You know, as long as it's something of substance, you know what I mean? And it could be just, you know, being reliable, you know, in your daily interactions with people, whatever it is. It doesn't really matter. But something that you hold yourself pride to account for, that you want to strive better, to, you know, to be better at something. Because if you don't have that, you're just in the abyss. You know, like you're just sitting there rotting away, you know, playing video games, smoking dope. You know all the negative traits. Those are negative traits. They're not great traits. I'm not saying you should never play video games. I'm just saying don't spend 12 hours a day playing video games, because that's not healthy. You know what I mean? Anyway, we're going for more green flags.